I have been given the powers to connect and cognize with anything and everything to the farthest reach of the universe in every dimension and in every multiverse. The mind of the human is an illusion. If your fourth energy body gets activated, which is your electromagnetic energy body, now you have access to all kind of siddhis, powers, miracles. You have escaped the cycle of birth and death. You will not be born again. All the scriptures are nothing but deceptions. There is something I am giving to the humans. Every viewer who has a one look in my face for one single moment, fraction of a moment, 5 things are going to happen. Number 1, this becomes their last life. All their sins will be cleaned up. All their karmic baggage will be neutralized. All their energy bodies are going to go back to God. Their soul is going to go back to God. I'm talking about another group of aliens who have now started coming.
How do you define the problem of evil in the world?
The true evil is the God that the humans worship. The king is not liking the conversation I'm giving you. I am God, and because my face is the face of God, one look into the face of God and this becomes your last life. The dynamics of the world is now changing. Enlightenment will not be possible anymore.
Why is that?
Why is that? Now then I have to go in a different direction. You want me to go?
Thank you so much, sir, for coming onto the show. This is going to be a very, very insightful conversation. A lot of our audience is actually very serious about realizing their true self. And I mean, enlightenment is not even something that can be achieved. But yes, you talk very deeply about this. So I'm very excited to have you on the show. Thank you so much once again.
Thank you.
So I would like to start off by just clarifying one thing. So you believe that consciousness is fundamental to our existence, and that our mind, body, and this material world is basically an appearance that is arising in consciousness. Is that correct, briefly?
Number 1, anything I say I don't believe. I know. How do I know? I know for the simple reason that I have been given the powers to connect and cognize with anything and everything to the farthest reach of the universe in every dimension and in every multiverse. That's a power that I have. It's not a power actually, it's a grace from God, because I needed them in order to do the work of God. And the work of God, just briefly, I'm just telling you, is basically it is about freeing the souls from the king and sending them back to home from where they came. So basically, I'm not sending, I'm facilitating their going back. And in order to do that work, I needed to know a lot of things which the humans do not have capacity to know, or they do not have the permission to know. And so I speak from a place of knowing, not from a place of believing. And from that place of knowing, I am saying this, that there is no consciousness in our universe. There is, people have actually, how did this confusion happen that we have consciousness? Because we thought awareness and consciousness are same things, but they are not. Just because I have more awareness doesn't mean I have more consciousness. Consciousness is an consciousness is an aspect of God. Mind is an aspect of the king. King has no consciousness, and anything that the king created in his multiverse has no consciousness. and that which we call Brahman and assume that to be universal consciousness is not consciousness, it is the mind of the king. And a portion of that mind has been given to us by the spirit. So, if you want to know the mind of the king, just examine your mind. It is just that it is infinite times more. So I never say that there is consciousness. I say there is no consciousness. Everything is mind, everything is awareness. But yes, in this mind or the matrix, everything is arising.
In a way, the mind and the thoughts are an illusion because we think of that to be our true self. We think that we are the body and we are the mind, but that's not real. That is an illusion in itself, right?
The mind of the king is not an illusion, but the mind of the human is an illusion. So, so as I clarified in my previous podcast, the three things that the humans have, physical body, mind, and personality, all three are an illusion, showing up as real within the real thing, which is our energy body and our spirit.
So I guess the question comes that there are billions of people in the world, right? And when I mean people, I mean there are billions of mind and bodies that are joined together. So when you say that there is one awareness, if you even like to put it that way, then how can that produce a billion different mind and bodies? Or I guess another way to pose this question would be that when you say that I am that, or I am God, or I am Brahman, which is singular, how does that produce billions of mind and body complexes in the world?
You see, you have to understand first thing spirituality a little more before having a conversation on all these things. Because when you say, I am that, I am Brahman, no, you cannot say. A human cannot say all these things. But let me give you a better understanding of spirituality. Now, first thing I debunked the concept of consciousness. So, in spirituality, there is no such thing as consciousness, no matter whether you are Buddha, whether you are Ramana, and whether you are any other master. I am only using the name of two dead people, okay? I am not taking the name of any people who are currently alive. Number two, uh, okay, let me put it this way. We have multiple energy bodies. The lowest one is known as the astral energy body. If your astral energy body gets activated, what happens? All your desires are now gone with that activation. All your wanting and desires are gone. You now have peace. Your thoughts are no more. You become the observer. You do not try to fix yourself or the world. Everything is perfect the way they are. This is the place of no mind. And everything happens how? Not because of what you did, but because someone activated your first energy body, which is the astral energy body. But who is activating? It is the spirit who is activating. On what basis is the spirit activating? On the basis of whether it is written in the storyline or not. If it is written in the storyline, spirit will activate. If it is not written in the storyline, no matter what you do, the spirit will never activate. You will never become enlightened. Now, when your second energy body is activated, which is known as the mental energy body, now what happens? You enter into the realm of bliss. And in this realm of bliss, you are not even an observer. The world falls away. You submerge in that bliss. You enter into that bliss and you do not want to come out of that bliss. It is such a beautiful experience. This is known as, what would you call it? This is known as samadhi. The moment your first energy body is activated, you become the observer. So now there is duality, the observer and someone observing. This is where your Sankhya Upanishad is fulfilled. When your uh, mental energy body is activated, you are in samadhi. Now your yogic Upanishad is fulfilled. But you are still not in the realm of oneness. But you have escaped the cycle of birth and death. You will not be born again, because there is no karma left to be born again. There is nothing in you that will bring you back into the world of the humans. When your third energy body gets activated, which is the etheric energy body, now what happens? Now suddenly your awareness expands. You are no more bound within your five senses. And in this expansion of your awareness, you suddenly find that there is no world other than you. You are the only one existing. Your awareness is only thing that exists. And now you have entered into the realm of oneness. In your peace, you have no oneness. In your bliss, you have no oneness. It is in your expanded awareness you have oneness. Now you can go back into the world and peace and bliss will always be with you. And there will be no one else. You will not interact with the world as me and you.
Oh, can I just chime in with a follow-up that's been going on in my mind as you're speaking? So a few things. First thing is you mentioned a little bit earlier about Ramana Maharishi, who the general public knows as the Who Am I, and when you read him, and then you also mentioned Lord Buddha. So according to you, were those figures people who had reached that state of enlightenment and transcended duality of all sorts?
They had, that is why I said there is no inauthenticity in what they became. Because for them, these activations had happened and they didn't know. They never talked about these activations. They never talked about that it is not your sadhana that does the activation, it is the spirit that does the activation. They never said that unless it is in your storyline, spirit will not do it. They always guided people as if you can do it.
But didn't someone like, for example, Ramana Maharishi say that the path to liberation or moksha is essentially really realizing your true nature, which is,
How will you realize? How will you realize?
I mean, in the path of
No, it's not possible, not possible. Gyan Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Karma Yoga, and nothing possible. All the scriptures are nothing but deceptions.
even a text like, for example, Ashtavakra Gita, is that
Even that is a deception. Until and unless you know the structure, until and unless you know the dynamics, until and unless you know why all this so-called drama is going on, the drama of spirituality, the drama of religion, the drama of progress in the materialistic world, or the drama of so-called evolution.
But
That's what is
isn't that happening due to the ignorance of who you are? Because, for example, we're born in and we're conditioned in this life or many lifetimes to live a certain way, right? That we have to achieve this and that is ignorance because we think we are the mind, body, ego in a way.
true. But how will you transcend your ignorance? Through Gyan Yoga, Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga?
I mean, what is your take on that? Because according
Because unless you understand what I'm explaining, so I'm telling you what is self-realization and the difference between self-realization and soul realization. So I covered three paths. I came to the level of oneness. Now, if your fourth energy body gets activated, which is your electromagnetic energy body, now you have access to all kind of siddhis, powers, miracles. You can play with them and you can create all kind of so-called bending the rules or bending the laws of the universe up to a point. Now, up to here is what spirit can give you. Each one of them. This peace is an aspect of the spirit. The bliss is an aspect of the spirit. The oneness is an aspect of the spirit. Awareness is an aspect of the spirit. And power is an aspect of the spirit. So, each time you have peace, your first body activated, you have now realized your spirit. Second, bliss has happened, you have realized it more. Third, awareness has happened, you have realized it more. Fourth, siddhis or powers are happening to you, you have realized spirit ultimately. Beyond these four, spirit cannot give you anything. But spirit can cause one more activation, and that is known as the fifth body activation, which is the activation of your spiritual body. Up till now, up to the four activations, you were self realized. With the fifth activation, now you are soul realized, which means now the soul is going to source you directly. Up till now, the spirit was sourcing you. Spirit sources you in ignorance, and spirit sources you in the journey in enlightenment. From the fifth body activation, now the soul starts sourcing you and beyond. But within the human journey, only 5 activations possible. Now, how will you make the spirit cause these activations? In our language, we call it Ishwar Kripa. Ishwar Kripa means the grace of the spirit. But the grace of the spirit, how can you make it happen? It only happens because the soul wrote it in the storyline. Now the question is, can you make your soul write it in the storyline? You cannot, because you have no access to the soul. What will access the soul? Your physical body, it cannot. Your mind, it is a very small mind. And your false personality, as such, it is fragmented. So, this is the crux of spirituality. Once you get it, you also get it that there is nothing you can do in order to become enlightened, in order to have a spiritual journey. What you can do is you can have satori with your spiritual journey. What is satori? Beautiful experiences. Even that you can have only if it is in your storyline.
When you
Some people
talk
get
about when you mention storyline, just a quick question: is that what in people in the West call something like a soul contract, in a way that basically the contract that you came here with?
you can call it soul contract. I don't know exactly what they mean, but yeah, it is a kind of contract. You cannot break it.
Is written is how it's pretty much going to play out in this lifetime.
And you never signed it. You were not asked, do you like it or not? Do you want to be part of it? You arose because of that contract. You never existed prior to that contract. And in that arising, you got a false uh, notion of I exist. For you, the I is Amira. For me, it is Pradip.
That is just name and form when you realize it.
Name, form, story, memories, my personality, the way I come across in the world, the way I interact, my achievements, my failures.
Is it correct to say, for example, if you look at the example of a sun and a moon, right? Essentially, a moon does not have its own light. Like if we talk about it scientifically, a sun is what gives a light to moon. But to be honest, that's something 99% of us still don't even know, right? In the way, is it basically we are, when we talk about our mind or our names and forms, that is the moon, but the light is coming from somewhere else, also known as a sun, which is that pure awareness that you're referring to. Can you talk a little bit about that?
The spirit is the pure awareness. The higher self is the pure awareness. All same, okay? And spirit is your divinity. And when you say God is inside me, you are actually talking about that God. You're not talking about the soul. Soul comes inside you only after your fifth body activation. Now you have become eligible to have soul inside you. Up till that point, you are not even, the soul even doesn't need your body, doesn't want to be inside you.
So, what about someone like, for example, Paramahansa Ramakrishna, who obviously had a non-dual understanding and realization? Who most people say that he was an avatar, and even his guru, he had an Advait Vedanta guru Totapari, but he also had a relationship with the Divine Mother Kali. Was that just a leela to be able to show people in this world what bhakti is, or what was his relationship like? I'm essentially talking about that combination of non-dual realization and then bhakti, which is duality. How do you interpret that?
You see, the Kali of Ramakrishna is nothing but spirit coming across as Kali. There was no goddess that came to Ramakrishna. It was in the storyline of Ramakrishna that there will be a goddess guiding him. But it was the spirit. The spirit can come across as anything. It can come across as a human. It can come across as a deity. It can come across as an angel. It can come across as the devil. It can come across as an entity. It can come across as anything. Any form it can take.
When you're talking about these energy activations, I have this question, so I'm sure some of the listeners will have it as well. That, a general understanding of non-duality or Advait Vedant is that you're able to step by step negate your koshas. I'm not the body, I'm not the pran, I'm not the mind, ego, intellect, even I'm not the bliss. And then you're able to reach that blankness, which you're even not. And then you're able to even witness your emotions or whatever is arising in the world, which is still Sankhya, and then later on you go into oneness. But you're also adding in that element of energy activations, that is something that needs to be achieved before you can get this final realization. So I'm still a little bit confused on this aspect, to be honest.
You are confused because you are trying to bring together two things which do not fit within each other. Okay. The first thing I said, spirituality was a deception given by the king, because king wanted humans to remain engrossed, enchanted, and keep on practicing all the spiritual practices, which includes purification, meditation, kriya yoga, and other yogic practices, and other form of whatever you call bhakti, gyan, and everything. The king never wanted to tell you that, listen, you cannot do. It is only God who comes and tells you that you are wasting your time. But does God use the word waste? God doesn't use the word waste for the simple reason that there is nothing else you can do. It is written in your storyline that you have to meditate for 3 hours. So you have to meditate. Even after listening to me, people go and meditate. Why? Because they don't get what I'm talking about. Even if they get, they can't remember it. Even if they remember, their old habits take them into meditation. So, none of my talk is going to free people. And there is no gradual path to enlightenment.
But isn't it also a gradual path in the sense that, let's say, someone in this lifetime considers themselves to be a bhakta? They're devoting themselves to a deity, following the path of duality. But maybe when they are reborn into another mind, body, name, and form, they will gradually, if it's written in their storyline, progress. So isn't that in a way a gradual ascension?
In the storyline, there is no progress. In the storyline, what do they take? What they take is your karmic stuff. What is karmic stuff? Karmic stuff just means unfinished business. What is unfinished business? It means rag and dvesh. It means your attachment and aversions. So there are three things that create your karmic baggage. Number one, your attachment. Number two, your aversions. And number three, your wanting. There is nothing else that creates your karmic baggage. And all three rolls over to the next life. And so, if you become a bhakta in this lifetime, it is only one role that you did. You achieved nothing. You went through a series of incidents where you were singing, where you were dancing, where you were crying, where you were having those emotions which seemed to be coming from your heart, and you felt everything is getting carried forward to the next one. Not necessary. Nothing gets carried forward except three things: your attachment, your aversion, your wanting. Because they create the karmic baggage. And from that, the next storyline is created.
So if there is someone who's listening, someone who's, let's say, maybe somewhere they're having a spiritual journey, they think that they want to progress, even though that also is an illusion. But how can they actually take this knowledge or this truth that you are talking about into practical terms? For example, when you talk about all the paths, right? Meditation, you're instructed to do meditation. Bhakti, you're instructed to do puja, etc., etc. So, in the truth that you're referring to, there has to be some way, right? Or something they can follow or do nididhyasana on or something like that. So, can you talk about that a little bit?
If you want to do, you are welcome to do. But that will only be a time pass. As great a time pass as going to the McDonald's, as great a time pass as watching a movie in the Netflix, as great a time pass as opening the bottle of whatever you love drinking and chilling with your friend. Qualitatively, no difference. and making no more contribution than any of the other activities in your life. But the point is, there is something I am giving to the humans, not by virtue of what they are going to do, but just by virtue of one look at my face. Every viewer who has a one look in my face for one single moment, fraction of a moment, 5 things are going to happen. Number one, this becomes their last life. Number two, all their sins will be cleaned up. Number three, all their karmic baggage will be neutralized. Number four, all their energy bodies are going to go back to God. And number five, their soul is going to go back to God. These are the 5 things that are going to happen by default, whether they like it, they don't like it. One look at my face and it is done.
But how is that possible without putting in some effort? For example, if they read the book or they watch this, and of course, yes, energy and divinity is there, but
If they are watching this video, they don't need to even watch. If you put that image which is behind me on your thumbnail, they just saw it, they didn't even enter, and it is done. It is done because it is the will of God. Did I not tell earlier in the previous podcast which will prevails? Not the will of the human. It is the will of God that prevails, and it is the will of the Son of God, who is the King of the universe. His will prevails. There is no one else in this universe whose will prevails. Neither the will of the deities prevail, neither the will of the masters prevail, neither the will of the humans prevail.
so I guess the question, I'm just playing the devil's advocate here, would be that if we take a look at the picture of Lord Hanuman or Krishna or Lord Shiva, why would we not get the same effect?
Because that was not the will of God. And because they were all connected with the king, they never were willing to be connected with with God.
This power or this energy that you are claiming right now, I guess there's two parts to this question. Is that when did you realize this, that you had this power, divinity, energy? And have you faced opposition because of what you are claiming?
First thing you have to understand, I am 3 things. Number one, I am a human who is not enlightened. Number two, I am a messenger who brought forth the message of God. And number three, I am God, because that was the will of God. And this human is God, only giving you the face of God, because this human doesn't have any of the powers of God. So if you come to this human with any of your problems, this human cannot solve anything. Knowing that I am these three, it doesn't matter whether you believe or you don't believe. God said that my face will be the face of God as far as humans are concerned. And because my face is the face of God, one look into the face of God, and this becomes your last life. Those 5 things are going to happen. So, salvation is going to happen, liberation is going to happen, the souls are going to go back, and whatever is real in you, the energy bodies given by God, is going to go back.
And when did you receive this signal that you would be able to do this?
Uh, let's say about a year back.
But I guess the question is that, for example, most of the world who believe in Christianity or are Catholic, when they look at Jesus, right, who supposedly was the Son of God, right, or whatever the perception we have of Jesus, he was enlightened. When people think that he is the son of God, they also think that he was liberated or he was enlightened. But you just said that you are not enlightened. So
No,
how does that?
this human is not enlightened. God is not interested in the enlightenment business. God doesn't need any human to be enlightened. Neither the king wants the humans to be enlightened. If humans become enlightened, who will create the food for the king? Humans were created only to create the food for the king. No other species was created other than the human to create the food for the king. And in order to create that food, the king keeps on torturing the humans. And because of that torture, the food gets created.
But when we look at figures, for example, right, like Ramakrishna, Ramana Maharishi, Buddha, even, for example, Krishna, Hanumanji, who were supposedly in their physical body at some point of time, right? And then they've left their physical body. When people look back at them, whether they think of them as guru or God, they realize that they had achieved liberation or moksha, right? And they're only going to come back in their physical body if they have to, for example, guide people. Otherwise, they are liberated, they are enlightened. So, isn't that also true?
They are liberated, they are enlightened, that is true. But you use the word that they are going to come back to guide people. No one is not.
They want to.
If they want to, but no one is going to come back. Because the dynamics of the world is now changing. And in this dynamics, enlightenment will not be possible anymore.
Why is that?
Why is that? Now then I have to go in a different direction. You want me to go?
Sure, yeah, I want to, yes, because I feel like, to be honest, all our audience, me myself, are on that path. That's a reason that I study Vedanta, I studied Vedanta, is because as a human, whatever form I'm in, I want to be enlightened. But you're telling me the opposite. So, yes, I need you to go into that.
But you are going to be much more than enlightened. After enlightenment, what will happen? Nothing. This becomes your last life.
But isn't there, this a story that just came up, for example, of someone, I think Nisargadatta Maharaj, right? What people claim was enlightened. I think there's a story that he wanted to move out to the Mumbai slums, but he decided to stay there because even after enlightenment, your so-called physical life stays the same, right? It's not like something physically or materially changes. It's more of just that you realize your true nature. So everything that was so-called is suffering changes. So if we do get enlightened, you said that nothing will change.
You see, Nisargadatta Maharaj did not leave that place for the simple reason that spirit told him that it is in your storyline that you have to live here. So don't go away from here. And so he's remained there. It is a function of his storyline, not because he made a sacrifice or not if there were any other motives. So you want to know why enlightenment business is now going to fade away?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So I told you that there are souled beings, and these souled beings have the energy bodies that have been given to the humans by God. But there are another group of humans that have been coming into this planet. And these humans, and I'm not talking about the extraterrestrials, and extraterrestrials do exist on this planet as humans, but I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about another group of aliens who have now started coming. Not like now, they have been coming for quite some time, but for last 100 years, they are coming in bigger numbers. You see, when the king realized that I cannot hold back the souls, and all the souls are now going to leave my domain, which is this universe, the question now came up for the king was that it was the souls who were creating the humans, and there will be no souls left to create the humans. So now king decided, I am going to create the humans. But he would create the humans from the mind. The souls were creating the humans from consciousness. Why? Because souls are the children of God, and they were having consciousness, and they were creating the humans from consciousness, but not giving the humans consciousness. It is only when you have fifth body activation that for the first time consciousness enters into you from the soul. King has zero consciousness. King is 100% mind. Now all the souls will live, no humans will be created. So king decided, I am now going to create the humans. But from where is he bringing these humans? He is bringing in the beings. There are 7 upper worlds and 7 lower worlds. From the second lower world, these beings are now coming and they are taking birth in the human body, and these beings are now within us. They're almost like half the population of the humans are these aliens. A minuscule number is extraterrestrials, but half the population is these aliens. They are much superior beings. They have better intellect. They have better logic. They have better capacity to work. They have better capacity to create. That they have better capacity to deal with technology. Why is it in last 100 years our technology flourished so fast, which didn't happen in the last 1000 years? Because these are the beings coming from the world of very advanced technology, and they are bringing in those technology into our midst. The AI comes from them, all the advancements coming from them.
For example, like someone like Elon Musk, who claims that he's an
Is one of them. I'm talking about 50% of the world population. And very soon they will become 100%. Because soul beings are now not going to be created, souls are living. Who are today the soul beings? I also tell you, the people who are being maximum tortured, the beggars, the people do not have money, the people who are going through living day to day. These are people who cannot progress fast technologically. They cannot learn much. You can give them stereotype jobs. They are not innovators. But all the alien beings, they are the best of the politicians. They are the best of the scientists. They are the best of the artists. They are the best of the industrialists. They are the best of the uh, all those authority figures. They are the best of the criminals. They are the best of the musicians. They are the best of the painters, because they excel in whatever they want to do. But the soul beings do not have that hardware. The soul never gave them that hardware to excel in whatever they wanted to do.
But then, like we hear this a lot, which is somewhat true as well, that, for example, a lot of the people you find in slums or villages, right? Compared to, for example, the millionaires and billionaires in this world who commit suicide. In terms, of course, let's say they all are ignorant, right, of their true nature. But even the millionaire, billionaire is sad who's committing suicide. Even the person in the village is probably happier, I meant to say. So that doesn't really define your how contented you are, right? Is that
It's
also?
not about contentment. It is not about contentment. It is about they are winning. And in winning, you don't create food for the king. The moment they start losing, if at all they come to that place, or when they see they cannot win anymore, when they see that it is no, and basically all the suicides happen because of the storyline. No one commits suicide minus outside of their storyline. And so each one of them have been given a certain number of years, a certain work to do. Once they complete that, they either end it in a pleasant way or in a dramatic way or through accidents or through disease or whatever. I am not saying they are content. How can they be content when they want more and more and more? But they are good in what they do.
How do you define the problem of evil in the world? You mentioned criminals a little bit earlier.
There is no such thing as evil. Because the true evil is the God that the humans worship. And that is the God who is the king of the universe. And why is he evil? Because he is torturing the humans. Because that is the definition of human evil. When you torture others, you are evil. So he is the one who is evil. And if he is evil, what do we talk about? The evil, anything, anything evil in this, in our world. The king is not liking the conversation I am giving you.
I need to ask this because I think I was asking a lot of questions. I never really got time to just clarify what do you mean by king? Like if you can just give a layman definition of it so people can understand in an easier way.
The king is whom the Hindus call Mahadev. Okay. The Muslims call Allah. Christians call Father. The Jews call them Yehovah, or whatever that pronunciation is. The Sikhs call them Vaheguru. The Parsis call them Aura Mazda. He has many names. You can call him Kal, you can call him Kal Brahm, you can call him Jyoti Niranjan, you can call him Mahakal, you can call him Sadashiv, you can call him Mahabrahma, Mahavishnu, all one guy, single individual, cursed to eat the grime of the humans. And so he has to torture the humans. Why did he create enlightenment? In order to tell people that spiritual journey is a valid journey. It is a journey that produces results. That's why he created enlightenment for a few people. But the journey doesn't deliver anything.
But you said the king is what we like what people think are Allah, Krishna, Hanuman, whatever these names are. But you said the
Not
word
Krishna.
not Krishna. So what is
Only
special?
Mahadev. And not even Shiva. Not even Shiva.
Okay. So what is your then interpretation of, for example, the Srimad Bhagavad Gita?
That book was actually had nothing to do with Krishna. It was spoken by through Krishna, but it was actually spoken by that individual whom I said is the king. And he reveals his true nature in the 11th chapter, where he reveals to Arjuna. And he also reveals how all the humans are going into his mouth after they die. It is not the physical body that is going into his mouth. What happens when humans die? I'll tell you. Number one, the body is burnt or buried, physical body. Number two, let's keep the mind and personality aside. The spirit goes back to the king. Now, the first energy body, which is the astral energy body, is supposed to go back to the ancestral world. But if it gets stuck, then this mind and personality becomes a part of this astral body. And now this astral body does all kind of nuisance, like it enters humans' body and eats through them. It enters into the alcoholics, drinks through them. It enters into the body of the drug addicts, takes the drugs. It enters into physical bodies of others and take revenge. It does all kind of nuisance. This is the lowest astral body. The second, which we call as the mental body, takes on the baggage. The karmic baggage comes to the next incarnation and it enters into that body. The third one, the etheric body, etheric energy body, in which all the grime was getting deposited. The spirit takes this energy body, takes it to the king, and king eats this energy body. That is what was depicted in the Gita, in the 11th chapter, in the Virat Darshan. And the beauty is, after the war was over, the story goes like this. After the war was over, after that ceremonies were over where Yudhishthir became the king, now Krishna said, I am going back to my kingdom. Arjuna said, can you tell me the Gita again? I have forgotten. And Krishna was very angry. How could you forget so much of wisdom? But still he said, I will try. And he said, I cannot give you what was given at that point of time. It came from my mouth, but it did not come through me. It came from a state of union. Union with whom? Union with the king. And then Krishna said, okay, let me try to give you. And whatever Krishna gave then to the Arjuna is then known as Anugita, A-N-U. It has double the verses. It is not as good as the Bhagavad Gita. And so Krishna did a bad job in our so-called corporate language. If Krishna was the one who spoke the Gita, he would have also spoken it then. No one can say Krishna got or has amnesia, that he forgot what he said. You cannot accuse Krishna of that.
That's interesting. Wow. So I guess we're coming close to the end of the podcast. I think that this is a very, very, probably one of the most controversial episodes we've had because it goes against a lot of the thinkings of people, which is good. Um, for people, I understand, you're saying that if they even look at your face, either through the book or the podcast, it will help them achieve those 5 things that you mentioned earlier and reach salvation, right? But I guess the question comes that can they still continue doing their practices or their nididhyasana? Because what if someone watches your face or looks at you and then they decide to become so-called criminals, decide to do unethical things, decide to, do bad things in the material world? Because that is also a
You,
contradiction.
you think you can do all those things unless it is in your storyline? What free will do you have? That's what I debunked the whole thing called free will in the previous podcast. You will remain exactly what you are. Your nature is not going to change, and you will not be able to do anything which is not in your storyline. You are not created to be a criminal. How can you be a criminal? A criminal, if it is in the storyline, is created to become a criminal. Then only they can become a criminal.
But what if someone goes to a criminal right now, like someone who was created in this lifetime to be a criminal? It's in his or her storyline, or some.
The story will continue because God doesn't change the storyline. That person will commit whatever crime he commits, and he will face the consequences by going to jail or whatever. And if it is written in the storyline that he will not be caught, he will never be caught.
But if we're talking about that hypothetical criminal and we show him, for example, your book, like just for maybe 1 second, how will that change what he's about to do?
Nothing will change. Nothing will change because for anything to change, the storyline has to be changed. And God said, I will not go against my son who wrote that storyline. Why is it? Because I have been with God now from 2015, 10 years. Day and night, I fight with God. What you are giving is not really solving our problems. And God said, I didn't come here to solve your problems. I came here to solve the problem of my children who are the souls. I don't care for the humans. God doesn't care for the humans, the king doesn't care for the humans, and the humans do not know that. And God just said, okay, only as a part of the contract I had with you, now there are two things that will happen. Number one, I will make this your last life. And number two, if you talk, now this is a healing card. We do not promote the book. We promote this healing card. Why we promote this healing card? This healing card can be downloaded from a website called alakgod.com, which is alakghgod.com. When you download this healing card from there, talk to this image of all your pain, of all your suffering, of all your fear, of all your anxiety, of all your stress, anything that you are going through. But do not ask God to give you money. Do not ask God to pay your rent. Do not ask God to do whatever you want God to do. God doesn't do that. Just share your pain and suffering and see if God gives you any relief or not. There is one problem why people do not get relief. And the problem is this, that every storyline has gaps. Gaps where it was not written what you will do in that particular time. The gaps were actually created in the storyline depend for the reason that if ever you deviate from the storyline for whatever reason, the spirit will be able to bring you back into the storyline through those gaps. That's why the gaps were created in the storyline. People who have more gaps, they get better results from God in relief to their suffering and pain. People who have less gaps get very less results from God in terms of relief from their suffering and pain. The point is, no one knows how much gap is there in their storyline. Only way to come to know is talk to this God for 30 days who comes across to you as two humans. Do not go into a debate. Do not have any trust. Do not have any reverence. Do not have any faith. Always say, I do not believe in you, and then talk to this image. And then see after 30 days. If there are gaps, God will deliver. If there are no gaps, God will not deliver. Drop the card.
Okay. So that's I guess, a call to action for this podcast.
Call to action. The other things are by default. No action.
Thank you so much, sir, for giving your time today. It's this was a very one of the most like I was saying, a conversation where I actually was able to learn a lot and definitely chime in between to ask, my questions. I had a lot of follow-ups. And I'm sure that this will benefit a lot of people. So thank you so much. If there's any last closing words you would like to say, please go ahead.
The only thing I tell people is, and of course, I'm telling to the person who is seeing this video or podcast, if you have ever come to this point where you are listening to me, if you have actually gone through the whole video, now my message to you is this is your last life. Enjoy the life, which means I'm asking you to enjoy within your resources, within your capabilities, within what has been given to you by life. You do not need much to enjoy life. Whatever you have, wherever you have, however you are, whatever little time is left, whether it is 1 year, whether it is 10 years, whether it is more than that, enjoy it. There is no purpose to life. There is no evolution. There is no one who is going to judge you after you die. There is no another birth that you will take. And there is nothing you need to do. But if you say you love your meditation, do your meditation. If you love your kirtan, do your kirtan. If you love going to the temple, go to the temple. If you love going to the mosque, to the church, go there. Whatever you love, just do it. It doesn't matter. But enjoy what you are doing. Do not do anything for the sake of a future goal, a future happiness, a future gift that will come to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Samira.
Thank you.
A
Have a great
wonderful
day.
time I had with you.
Same
Thank you.
here. Thank you so much.